Welcome everybody to the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So just a little intro, which I'm probably going to do for the first few of these at this stage of my life when I'm filming these, which is just a little note for anybody who doesn't realise I recently moved home, and as a result of that I actually traded in my old desk that I used to do all my readings on for a new desk that sits stand so that I can look after my back a bit in my aging years. So as a result, going forward, there's going to be this sort of darker background rather than the sort of like very pale green background that I had before. And I'm still trying to work out lighting in the new sort of place. And it's not perfect, I would say, at this point. And I'm going to experiment a bit with other ring lights and things like that. But even as you can see, there's sort of like you can see the light above me, all that kind of thing. So it's going to be a bit of a balance between, getting as bright as possible for as much clarity as possible and not then losing the clarity in a different way with glare. So bear with me on that. Because I had already filmed quite a few sets of readings ahead of the move, for a little while that sometimes you'll see the green background still from an older filming, and then other times you'll see this, because I tend to film and then I sort of go to spirit as to what's the right time for something to actually be published. So that will toggle a little bit for a little while, and then it'll be this going forward, and hopefully over time it'll get a little bit clearer. But please do bear with me on this. I noticed when I was filming one yesterday that it kind of looks like this sort of issue is at its most right at the beginning in the choice. The more cards I put down, the more it kind of seemed to clarify. So I think it's just got to do with the glare on the table, but equally it's quite overcast today, so I need to have actual artificial light on. So hopefully that's okay. Today's reading is looking at how you illuminate your path both through the sun and the moon. In your astrology chart, your sun is like your life path and the moon is like your emotional nature, psychic nature, what is hidden, and so forth. In tarot, the sun is joyful optimism moving forward, and the moon is, again, what is hidden, what is more in shadow, not necessarily bad, and the light is not necessarily good. And that will be important in this reading, actually, because it's sort of neutral on that level. It depends on how you deal with the energies. The inspiration for this is that I recently got Stacey DeMarco's Queen of the Sun Oracle. You can see 3 of the cards there. This is through Rockpool Publishing. She also did the Queen of the Moon Oracle, which you will have seen in a number of readings that I've done, because I really love her work and I've had that deck for quite a while. So you're going to see the Queen of the Moon as well too. So this is going to be a very queen / feminine centric sort of reading, but it doesn't matter what gender you are. That's not the issue here. It's just we're going to go with the sort of theme of messages from the Queen of the Sun and the Moon, in terms of what is very clear and visible and clarified in your life, and what is more hidden and yet to emerge, what is a bit more mysterious, that kind of thing, and how to bring those things into balance. So that's what we're going to do today. I hope that's of interest. As always, I look to how to help you with the choice of pile. Of course, if you always go to one particular number, go to that. If you want to go to more than one, go to more than one. But to help for all the others who do find the sort of visual and kind of conceptual understanding of some of the energy of the reading helps you draw to the right reading. For part, what I did is I shuffled the Queen of the Sun Oracle, and I asked for the first 3 cards to be pile 1, 2, and 3 respectively. So for pile number 1, we have Desire, and it's number 5 if you are interested particularly in numbers. For pile number 2, we have Recovery, and that's number 15. And then for pile number 3, we have Joy, and that's 17. So one of those may draw you, or more than one may draw you. When you know what pile or piles you want to go to, I've got the timestamps as always in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile number 1 to your reading. So what was underneath Desire were these other cards, which I sort of intuitively pulled. I didn't know what they were. And as often happens, I get quite surprised sometimes when I see something come up. And what's really interesting is that in both the Queen of the Sun, and so that's the cards here, and the Queen of the Moon Oracle, there is a card for the unexpected, and it came up for both. And it's interesting because it feels to me as though, and I'll get to the astrology around this, what this is doing, the message for you is something's coming that is unexpected. Like, I think that's pretty clear. Both, it's not something you would have in the sort of more visible, clarified, day-to-day, this is the path I'm on, this is the path that I see and understand. It's a surprise on that level. It's also a surprise around your kind of more emotional nature. The moon sort of energy is what's hidden and so forth. So there's a big surprise coming. Like that's number one. It's not necessarily good or bad, though I feel actually what I like here is that I think that what it's coming for you is to get a very good balance between what you want in the world. So I think there will be something about it that you do really want, like something that you've desired or worked towards. But you've also got here the wisdom card around what emerges with this. So I feel as though this is something that you have wanted. This is something probably, as I say, anything that I would associate with the sun, like your life path, your career, who you want to be in the world, how you want to express yourself. This is something you wanted. And I think there's a breakthrough. The way that the unexpected is shown here is with flares, with this sort of like, wow. And it's sort of interesting, actually, that when I'm filming this, it's sort of, I think at the tail end of a lot of solar flare activity that's been going on. So I think you're very in tune with what's going on in the cosmos as a collective. But it's bringing through something that you want. And what I like here is that it is surprising to you. It's something you didn't expect to happen, but you do have the wisdom to balance that out. What do I do with this? And when I have a look at, excuse me, the astrological energy around it, we have the Sun and Mars and we have the Sun and Neptune. So again, I think like this is something very material, something very known in terms of an aim. It's just that you didn't expect it to happen. So whether it's a great love coming in, you didn't expect that to happen right now, getting a career boost that you didn't expect, having a blessing that you didn't expect. It's something, I think it's positive. Like the energy I get is positive, but what to do with that energy and what is real and what isn't real and how to kind of balance what you want it to be compared to what it actually is the thing. So it's how you then manifest it in your life, because we have Sun with Mars. Like, what actions do you do when you get this really exciting energy coming through of something you've always wanted? There's a real sense here with the Sun and Mars, like I just want to run forward with it. But there's a wisdom over here within your spiritual side and what is sort of more hidden and underneath, which says, okay, I didn't expect this yet. I'm not entirely ready. How do I understand how to make this the ideal? Because Neptune can be the ideal with the Sun. But equally, how can I be sure what is real here? What does this really represent? So I think we're looking at a time period here of something unexpected that's coming in, and it might have already come in. You might go, okay, yeah, I know what this is, or it might be about to come in, but something is definitely coming. And I do think it's positive. Like I feel like there's a lot of joy with that, and I feel like the solar flares are being shown again there. I think there's a lot of kind of mirroring going on here. So this does represent, it's like manifestation actually. It's like something that you have magically or spiritually desired is now actually going to come into the real world, and you've then got to go, well, how do I deal with this and how do I understand this? So pretty positive straight off the bat. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Lumina tarot, which is also a reasonably recent release by Rockpool Publishing. I thought Lumina tarot would be a perfect tarot to illuminate what both the sun and the moon can show us. So we're going to look firstly about the visible messages of light, like what is this all about? Then we're going to look at how is this involved, and then we're going to look at how to balance those two together. So for pile number one, a little bit more about what is this unexpected thing that's coming in. The love, well, for some of you, it may well be a love relationship. And I'm sorry, I do think that the glary sort of thing may be making it hard to see that, so I'll show you the lovers. The Wheel of Fortune. The Seven of Cups. There's the wisdom to know what is real and what isn't real in this. The Two of Swords. The Ten of Pentacles. The King of Swords reverse. Okay, all right. So I'm going to talk firstly if this is a relationship, and then I'm going to talk more generally, because it could be, depending upon who's come to this reading, either of those things. It doesn't have to be one or the other. So if this is a relationship, this is divine timing, definitely. So that it's meant to happen. Like this is meant to happen, could be surprising in some way, unexpected, but it is meant to happen. The timing is right for it. And it's potentially very long term, but you're not sure about what's real. And I think it has something to do with a former relationship, if that's the case. I don't feel a King of Swords reversed is the energy we're seeing here. I think which would normally be someone you couldn't trust, but I think in this it's more there's a residual energy about whether or not you can trust this energy. There might also be something about this desire if it's not around a person, or even if it is around a person that is very different maybe to what your family or your culture, expect of you. So there is something divergent about it. Excuse me. So that's a possibility as well. It is showing you are very aware, although the sun is very dominant in this reading for you, you're very aware in making a decision that you move to here. This is because your wisdom is here. You know you have a very strong spiritual background. You know that you are very wise when you go into that rather than just looking at what's on the surface. So there's a kind of a tug towards going to the wisdom to really understand what this unexpected thing is. Even if you actually look at the unexpected there compared to the unexpected there, here we have the burst of energy, the unexpected thing coming in, the pure light that's all over it. But of course that can be dazzling. Here we have a sort of sense of just stepping away from it a bit, because the unexpected here almost looks like it's through a portal. So I feel like you almost deliberately step back from it because something in the past that is a bit like this but didn't work out makes you wary. And this is true whether it's a love relationship or whether it's just a choice around who to connect with, around a business deal, whatever it might be. You do have the wisdom because you've been through this before. You're very aware that, not all that glitters is gold, as they say, and you shouldn't judge a book by its cover and every other one of those sort of sayings that fits this. So in the light, you're aware. You're aware this, you can sense this is good timing. You can sense it's big. You can sense that it is materially very robust and has a lot going for it, but you're not going to trust it till you know for sure. And that's why you go more into your spiritual side. So let's see what the messages from the Queen of the Moon are then. If that's the Queen of the Sun saying, yeah, I'm bringing you something, it's the right time for it, and it's not really what you saw in the past, but you need to convince yourself of that. What does the Queen of the Moon want to say to you? Five of Swords reversed, Eight of Wands, Knight of Pentacles reversed, Five of Wands reversed, Strength reversed, the Hangman. Okay. For a start, the Queen of the Moon wants you to think differently. I think wants you to know that this is different. With the Hangman reverse there, sort of in a sense almost clarifying the King of Swords reverse there. It's saying this is different. This is different to something that seemed like it was what you wanted but wasn't. So that's good. It wants you to know this is different. Wants you to understand that it's okay to take a bit of time with it though. It might feel like with all the sort of solar flare energy and the Sun Mars here that you've got to act really fast, but how you actually manifest this with wisdom, with the Neptune, is something take a little bit of time. Don't burn yourself out in doing it. This is meant to be for the long haul. Anything that has a 10 in it, but particularly something like the 10 of Pentacles, it's meant to really be something long term. So don't kind of leech your strength out by rushing too much. It's saying that it's not going to be as contentious as you might be afraid of, but you are going to not decide about committing to it for quite some time, whether it's a relationship or something else. I think that the Queen of Moon is saying that's okay. Saying that when the timing is right, you'll move very fast around this. You'll know what to do with it and don't give up on it. So the Queen of Moon wants to say whatever else, there is something of great value here. There is something, I agree with the Queen of Sun, this is divine timing. There is a lot going for it, but you have a lot of kind of walls up, and they're caution, and there's nothing wrong with caution. And wisdom, that is a wise thing. And you don't have to commit immediately. You need to work out what this is actually going to be for you, but don't give up on it. The energy will be released at the right time, but there is a possibility of either you run away before it even happens, if you're not sure and you think you're going to be rushed, or you burn yourself out if you rush yourself. So it's kind of get this into balance. So that's the next thing. We're just going to ask for some cards for how to best balance the two messages for you. And this is whether it's a relationship or whether it's a work thing, a business thing. It could be anything here. But it's something that you've wanted but you didn't expect to happen at this point. The Maiden or the Page of Pentacles reversed, the Ten of Cups, the Four of Swords, the Emperor, the Four of Cups. Okay. So the first thing I do feel for some of you, there is something about shifting away from family patterns, but retaining what is good or care, the caring that you have for people, but also shifting away from where there were blocks around that to your own sovereignty and to what you do. there is a very strong action orientation to this. So although these messages, as I say, are coming primarily from the divine feminine, with that Mars energy there, with the sun, with the Emperor turning up here, there's something about action in the world, sovereignty in the world that is important here. And certainly if it's a love relationship, it's either saying maybe a divine union in some way, and that doesn't matter what gender you are or identify with or your partner does. But it's interesting to see we've got such a Queen/Empress heavy sort of energy for this reading, and the Emperor's turned up here as part of how we bring them together. So there's something about the balance which aligns with the Lovers card there. Whether this is around relationships or not, there's something about that. But there's certainly something about you being more able to be sovereign to what you want, but you don't have to be. The interesting thing about this with the Four of Swords and the Four of Cups is you don't have to take what you see it is out into the world until you know what you want, until you could commit to it emotionally. It's saying that's the thing. The commitment issue is an emotional issue. Once you emotionally feel this is right, you can do it, but you're not going to do it again. With the Knight of Pentacles reverse and the Maiden of Pentacles reverse, you're not going to commit to something until you do it. I often say with the Maiden/Page of Pentacles reverse, kind of do a business case on this. Look at what are the pros and cons, because I think you're going to find there's more pros than cons, but the cons will give you the wisdom to know how to navigate it and get the best thing out of it. This is a really good opportunity, I have to say, pile one, but there's something about it that reminds you of the past, and that didn't work out. But remember, you learnt from that, so you can move forward. Give yourself time and don't push yourself to commit until you're ready, because this has come in with divine timing, and I think you're being supported with it. But it's sort of up to you how you use the energy, and there is that possibility of either running away before you get it or burning yourself out, and because a lot of it is tense, I suppose, for you if you're not really sure you should commit, but you're just sort of forcing yourself to. So I think there's just a balance around that for you. So let's have a look at it in terms of shadow and light, because there's another way you can look at moon and sun. I mean, I primarily seeing this more about what's visible and what's a bit hidden or what's a bit more within or spiritual, but let's look at it on that level too. So we're going to look at this. We're going to use the Boho Spirit Oracle for the light energy. We're going to use the Lilith Oracle for the shadow energy. And then we're going to look at it for sun and moon. So even though you could say one was the other, it's like we're going to see the interchange on both. And we're going to then look with the chakra cards about what can bring those into balance. So firstly, let's have a look at the sun, because this is very sun heavy. So let's have a look at the light energy around the sun. Brainstorm. Okay, now that's interesting. So much is coming through. It's like solar flare storm. Like this is a big inspiration, a big aha moment, all of those sort of things. If you're not sure, and as I say, this is how you get to your wisdom. This is like you sit and you go, everything you can think about this, bring it all out to the surface, bring the stuff from the moon up to the surface, because that's going to help you spiritually know what is this and how is it different from the thing before that didn't seem to be what you wanted. So let's see the shadow that you might be a little bit afraid of, but from the sun's perspective. The precipice, insecurity, risk, vulnerability. Yeah, this is making you, it's wonderful, it's exciting, but it makes you feel vulnerable. It's okay. I think this is trying to say it's okay to feel vulnerable. Just give yourself time. You'll be able to work it out. You're more than capable with the wisdom. You have a lot of wisdom there to bring that to the surface, but that's why you have to take the time. So let's see what chakra energy is operating on the sun level and whether or not it's in balance. We've got the heart chakra. I love myself, but I neglect self-care, overactive. Okay, so you may have had a tendency when something came that was good for you, whether it's a new love relationship, whether it's a business thing, whether it's a promotion, to put everybody else ahead of yourself. So I think this is saying you need to actually understand this has come for a reason. You kind of doubt it. Like this does feel a lot like a promotion or an opportunity like that, because it feels like the last thing you expected at the moment was that. It's like an accelerated pathway. And you think, oh, do I even deserve this? When you brainstorm, you'll realize that you do, that you're not vulnerable, that you're ready, and that other people have seen it. But because you don't look after yourself as much as you could, and it's the same thing here, you could overdo it as well with all that solar flare energy. It's really important that the only thing that could make you vulnerable is not putting the time into it that you need. So bring that to the surface. What else is going on spiritually underneath? So if we have a look at the moon energy, but from the light perspective, what light is the moon spiritually shining on this? rise above it. Yeah, I think it's like this is very much be in your head, be in your third eye chakra, your crown chakra, get a higher perspective, or like the portal, get away from it, get the perspective of distance, because it's like it's triggering a lot of desire, a lot of hope and all that kind of thing, but along with that is a lot of sort of fear or anxiety. So for the moon, the moon is telling you, yeah, rise up, look at this from a higher perspective. What are the shadow energies around that when you do that? The trial, struggle, despair, exhaustion. Okay, you expect there's something that's happened that wasn't good. That's what's really clear about this. So you expect, see how this person's trying to rise above the water? It's like what this is trying to say is there's so much energy coming through and it's the right time for you, and you deserve it. You deserve this blessing. But you feel like, oh, I'm not sure that I can do this yet. I'm not sure I'm ready, so I feel vulnerable. And if I rise above it, like, am I really rising above it to look at it, or am I just doing it just to cope? So there's definitely sort of here an energy of it's unexpected because you didn't think you were ready yet, but Spirit wants you to know that you are ready. So let's see the chakra energy operating there. We have the third eye chakra, as I say, getting into that sort of more head-oriented area. I see, but I can have mental fog. Yeah, you can see all this. You're much more wise than you think, but you expect. It's like you have an expectation of something not being what it appeared. And like, I understand that. We all have that. If we have a disappointment, we tend to think that's going to replicate. I don't think that's what's going to happen in this case for you. So I think that the Queen of Sun and Moon both want you to know that this is heading towards something you desire, but you've just got to give yourself the time to feel comfortable with it and grow into it. Okay, so let's see for each of those as well too, for the Sun and for the Moon, how you heal something within yourself, what you should focus on, and an empowering message for each of those. So the healing energy that comes from this unexpected inspiration, unexpected love, unexpected promotion, from a Sun perspective, from your life path, from what is visible. Okay, victimhood. Yeah, there's something that's happened to you. And it's not, you weren't wrong about that. I want you to know that. That's not saying to you, oh, you're kind of in a victim mentality. But something happened to you, and it did happen to you. But this is meant to heal this because it's not going to be like it, but you need to feel comfortable with it moving forward. So it's not like go by just a tarot reading and go, okay, I don't need to do any work because now I just know it's fine. There is a process here that will help you feel more internally balanced and able to deal with it. So what should you focus on in the day-to-day, the light of day, in your life path side sort of energy to best use this blessing, I think, that the Queens are bringing to you? Joining something, connecting to others, relationship, love, career, business, socially, politically, whatever this is about, because you were burned by someone. The King of Swords reversed there. I mean, that's a person, I think, who was not to be trusted, or it could be a system or a workplace or something. Joining something else and like moving forward, that seems to be the way, what would make you feel comfortable to join in with this? That's the thing to focus on. And an empowering message from the Sun is it's okay to say no. So take time. It doesn't mean, I think it is saying don't say no to all of this because there is something good to happen, and don't give up on the energy, but you can say no to elements that don't operate with you. And you don't have to join with everybody. You might have some options here. And it's like you can say no. You don't have to put other people ahead of yourself to work out where you're best going to join, where you best get the energy for it. So that's on a day-to-day level. What about what's going on underneath? What about what is a little bit more hidden and a little bit more spiritual? The healing energy that's operating there for you is trauma. Yeah, there's something big. This was something big. It really was. And it is going to heal for you. This is partly being brought to you to heal, but it's also being brought to bring you back to who you are. This is why we've got the really strong Sun energy here and the action and the dreams around that. You are very spiritual, you are very psychic. This is why you have the wisdom sitting there with the moon, but this is meant to be something that makes you act because there was something that happened to you, and this is to help heal that. So on the more sort of psychic, spiritual level and the more private level, what should you focus on? Breathing. Yeah, just breathing. Look at that. Like, this is okay. It may seem just a little bit overwhelming. It may seem too good to be true. There's a whole bunch of things it may seem like, but just give yourself the time. And then the empowering message from the moon is, When you understand there is no such thing as death, you can drop all fears. Yeah, like this is to know that at the end of the day, you are supported. You will be able to move forward. You are an eternal being. It's okay. Give yourself time. Don't worry about the past because you keep moving forward. That's the only thing that's important about this. So I do think for this group, you went through something pretty bad. But on the other hand, there's something pretty good coming through. But you just need to take it step by step to make sure you only accept of it what you really, really desire as opposed to the broader level. Okay, so let's get you a couple of goddesses to work with the Queen of the Moon and the Queen of the Sun, to just add any other sort of like perspective, guidance, spirit guidance, that sort of thing for you. First we have Hainui Po. I have not seen that one before, so I will pause to see what she is about. And we have Anaquagaseo. Again, I'm probably butchering the way that the pronunciation is. I do apologise to the goddesses, but I'm not that good at pronunciation. So I'm just going to pause to see what these goddesses are. So as is often the case, these are very interesting. It's also interesting where they fell. This is a Maori goddess of the night and the underworld, and reminds you of the profound connection between life and death. Notice the wisdom that lies within darkness. So it's saying you have the wisdom that you need. I think she's here to help you bring that up, to understand that, and to work out how to move past whatever that darker energy was. She's there to help you with that. And it's her energy guides you to find peace in the mysteries of life's transition. So if this feels like it's a very big change, she'll help you. She'll help excavate for you that wisdom. And I thought at first, oh, maybe that should be over there. But it's interesting because I think this fell here for a different reason. This particular goddess is an Inuit goddess of the sea and protector of fishermen. And there is strength and resilience when you accept the power of survival and adaptability. So I think it's connecting back to this. It's like being able to deal with the emotional side of this, being able to be above it, having the wisdom and adaptability to do that. She navigates you through the icy waters. Let her guidance fortify your spirit to face life's challenges with courage and determination. So I think they're there just to kind of help you. They go, yeah, this could feel sometimes like you're drowning. This could feel sometimes like it's too much. But you really do have the wisdom, and they're going to access that for you and give you the sense that you're rising way above having to worry about whether you're just above the water. So I think there's a lot of energy from Spirit wanting to support you here. Okay, last but not least, we're just going to get a wild card from the Blue Dragonfly for anything else that wants to be said or any other energy around this that is helpful for you to know. Wow, the Purge. Psychophysical well-being, toxicity, introspection, cleansing. There's something big that this is saying is going to shift. And this opportunity, this unexpected thing, whether it's an unexpected love, career, promotion, inspiration, whatever it is meant, it has a dual purpose. It is meant to make you understand and focus and go towards the right connections and the right decisions for your life path and what you desire, because you're meant to have that now. But it's also meant to purge some situation where something didn't work out. And I feel like, someone betrayed you, somebody lied to you. It could be in love, but it could have also been in a career. It could be anything. It could be even with some of the energy, some family stuff that you need to clear. But this is the time when you can do it. And it's almost like the unexpected is a shock to the system, a bit Uranian actually, in terms of astrology, to get you to sort of see what is possible and what you have the wisdom and the capacity to do. So I think it is very, very positive, but it comes off the base of something that makes you wary of, I don't see myself as lucky. This isn't really lucky, but in the sense that it's not like serendipitous like that. This is something that you have earned and something that you're ready for, but it's being protected. You're being held, I think, to do it. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with recovery. I'll just bring this up because the glare is a little bit on that card sitting on the table. So there's definitely a sense around this that I think if you were drawn to this because of this energy, you are recovering from something. And that is very clearly showing here. There is a very big sense with the sun energy. This is the other thing from the Queen of the Sun, which is vitality, that there is a move towards much more vitality, joy, energy, health, all that kind of thing. In fact, I want to say first up, if this is a health issue, and for some of you it may be, and you may have been drawn to this because of recovery, this is firstly saying you are getting better. or if you've wondered, you will get better. But I feel like it's interesting that we've got here astrologically, we've got Mercury twice. We've got Mercury with Saturn and we've got Mercury with Neptune. And I almost feel, because over here it's like the moon energy, fear, wondering, what do I trust? What do I do? But you do have the discernment to do that. I feel like this is saying that you may at the moment be looking at around health, traditional with Saturn sort of remedies, traditional doctors and that kind of thing. And then maybe something that's more alternative, or you may be going with, well, this is what the science seems to be saying, but this is what my spirit is telling me. How do I work this out? What do I do? And I think this is saying you do have the discernment, and you have the support of both. I think this is what it's saying. Like, I think that your mind is very, very sharp. So if you're not sure about what a doctor's saying, get a second opinion. I'm not going to do a medical analysis here because I'm not a doctor, but this would say to me that your mind is able to discern what is the best thing for you. But it is a mixture of both, I would say. It's not like just suddenly go, I'm not going to talk about anything scientific or anything that's established, because there's something there for you that is helpful, but you're also very spiritually attuned. So I would say Mercury, communication. The more you communicate, get a second opinion, talk more with your doctors, whatever it might be, because you have a little bit of fear around, it's almost like if the vitality is coming through, will it last? Will we get the Saturnian, it will last, or will it be a little bit more ephemeral with Neptune? I feel like it's going to work, but this is kind of happening in a way for you around health, so that you understand how clear you can be and how good communication can get you the best outcome. So that's if it's around health. And I'll mention that again if it sort of comes through tarot. But I just felt like there is a kind of an underlying health issue here, potentially for some. If there's not sort of something like that you're dealing with, like some actual health issue that you're dealing with, then I think this is about your overall energy. And it would suggest that there has been something that has taken quite a bit out of you. And you may be focused now on, how do I get back on track? And it's a good thing to do, because, as I say, you're very good at researching, finding out both traditional and not traditional, finding out both sort of structured, kind of long-lasting, and also more sort of spiritual outcomes. Like, that focus is very, very good. This is why the promise is vitality coming through for you. But you are a little bit worried about what to trust with it. But the good thing is that you have the discernment on a spiritual level. Like, you might worry, actually, there might be a side of you, whether it's sort of like around health and well-being more generally, or your energy more generally, that you have a tendency to tilt towards what's the established, but you do have the spiritual knowledge as well. And again, it's about communication. It's about thinking things through. You're very sharp. You are someone who could, quote unquote, do your own research. It doesn't mean only do that. And certainly, depending upon whatever you're dealing with, do look at traditional as well as alternative, because it's usually somewhere a balance in both, that you can get something that if it's about recovering energy to vitality. So there's something about that, whether it's around love, whether it's around career, whether it's around your just general life, or whether it's around something to do with health. But you definitely do have the discernment. You don't have to be as worried about that as you possibly have been. So I think this is a message from the sun saying, yeah, things are getting better. And I think it will last. The sun is telling you it's going to last. But there is still discernment and wisdom. And if you focus on that rather than fear in terms of the sort of the alternative or the spiritual, you'll get a good balance. So let's see with tarot. We're going to firstly ask a little bit more about this moving from recovery to vitality. Then we're going to ask a little bit about moving from fear to discernment. Then we're going to see how to balance them together. So firstly, a little bit more from the Queen of the Sun to you, pile 2. And I've got a bit of a craggy throat, and I've got bad hay fever, so I'm in touch with this at the moment. So if my voice seems a little bit craggy, that's why. So for the Queen of the Sun, what else is she saying to you? The Eight of Swords reversed. Oh, not an Eight of Swords reversed. It's a Justice reversed. I don't know why I said that. It's interesting. Eight of Swords reversed. I think when that happens, it means something. There's a liberation from the issue there. 10 of Cups reversed. The Moon. So it's saying the Moon is important. The Sun is saying don't forget the Moon. 7 of Pentacles. 3 of Wands. 6 of Pentacles reversed. Okay, yeah. It's interesting. So firstly, Justice reversed, it suggests that something that you're getting over was something that wasn't fair, or something that shouldn't have happened to you. So if it's a health thing, it's more like an accident or catching something that you shouldn't have caught, or something like that. It's like, this is not, if it's a health thing, something you brought on yourself. And I don't mean that in a really cold-blooded way, like, oh, you can bring diabetes on yourself, or you can bring, I don't know, conditions on yourself depending upon your lifestyle. I'm not talking about that sort of thing. I'm talking about the concept that this is just something that may not seem fair, or something that wasn't fair that happened to you was the thing that you need to recover from. It's one or the other. But what I think is interesting is I read that as the Eight of Swords. Now, the Eight of Swords reverse is being able to free yourself from a mental trap. So I think it's a bit of both. When that sort of thing happens, I think that happens for a reason. So there's a mental trap as well from some past injustice that you can free yourself from. And it could be quite emotional with the Ten of Cups reversed. There might be an emotional purge that is necessary. Don't ignore that. Like, this is, like, what I think it's sort of saying is that right now you might be kind of on some regimen to process something or whatever. And, like, for instance, if it was an emotional upset that you're recovering from, it looks like you would be much more likely to be in action and being in the world and just doing things. That's what I'm going to do. And it's almost like you're not looking, it's a bit of fear to look at what the emotional undercurrent is. But this is saying you do need to look at that as well too, because you can liberate yourself from the fear, I think, and because you have the discernment. Queen of Sun is definitely saying things are slowly getting better. It's not going to be overnight. It's a slow but steady growth, and you're heading in the right direction, and your decision about it is the most important thing. It's like whoever is advising you at the moment, even if you are, it's a health issue and you're going to doctors, you're actually smart enough, understanding enough of yourself that you're almost like on an equal footing. Doesn't mean you ignore it. If they say go and do these tests or whatever, do it, that's fine. Get the information, but check the test results yourself as well, because you also have a good discernment about what will work for you. And if it's not about health per se, it's about something else, you're actually at a level where you're dealing with equals. Don't let somebody tell you what to do. You are heading in the right direction, but don't avoid the emotional side of it, because it's not going to be as difficult as you think. So let's see what the Queen of the Moon wants to say. Ten of Swords, Five of Pentacles reversed, the Magician. Yeah, you're very, very psychic, very spiritual, very powerful on that kind of level. Six of Wands, yeah. Knight of Swords reversed, the Chariot, okay. All right, so the Queen of the Moon's saying, yeah, look, whatever this was, the worst is over. Like, don't worry about the fear. It's really interesting with the Ten of Swords here, because fear over there is a bit like the Nine of Swords. It's like it's often the thing that we think is going to happen, but it doesn't. Like, the reason the swords are really tricky are not because inherently the 9 and 10 are difficult, or 8, 9 and 10 are difficult, but it's because we can imagine things as being far worse than they are. But regardless, whatever this was, you're over the worst of it. Even if it was a health issue and you've gone through some sort of surgery, you've done the surgery and you're now going into the recovery phase, and it's going to be good. Don't worry about that. You're going to find that the limitations that you felt, sort of like in terms of connecting with others, materially, physically, are now going to start to move away, and you have the capacity. It's a very mercurial card, the Magician, to bring that balance in. You have the skills, capacity, spiritual understanding. You have the discernment, saying yes, you do. And there is victory. There is victory equally because you understand and you are co-creating here. If you are getting advice from somebody like a doctor or whatever, or a therapist or a friend or a mentor, you're co-creating that. You are actually much more in control of this than you think. It says the main thing you're going to have to deal with is that one part of you want to rush ahead and do things, and another part will be pulling you back behind. It's sort of like there's a lot of energy coming through here, and the more vital you feel, the more you might want to be the Chariot and move forward. But it's like, don't rush it. Don't rush it, because either, you could burn yourself out, or it could be that a little bit of patience would be helpful at the moment. And I often think it's funny when I talk about patience, because I'm the least patient person you're ever likely to meet. So take my advice. Don't do what I do. Be a little bit more patient and discerning about it all. So let's see how to bring those two messages together for you. Four of Swords reversed. The Page of Wands reversed, or Maiden of Wands reversed. The Devil reversed. The Ten of Pentacles, yeah, this is like leaving the past behind big time. King of Pentacles, to go towards, like, this is about health. You are definitely getting better. You are definitely getting better. There's like, like if you're talking about like the upright court cards in the Pentacles, or even like the 8, 9, 10, to me that is always good. Now it's interesting, we've got the 10 of Pentacles reversed there, but the King of Pentacles, I think this is past issues, whether they be emotional, physical, or whatever it is that you're recovering from, that is ending. That is ending, and it's not going to repeat. You are liberated from that energy. One of the things to think about is when and how to come out into the world. But it's don't overdo your energy to do it, like kind of like take it step by step. If it's recovering from a relationship, don't feel like you've got to rush into the next relationship tomorrow. If it's around career, if you've had a time out, don't feel like you have to put everything into it instantly. You're meant to be liberating from that energy, but you are heading towards something that is much more vital, something that is long lasting, something that will manifest for you. That the magician, in a sense, is really strongly connected in many ways to the King of Pentacles because it's the master manifester. So that energy is there for you. Okay, so we're going to like delve into this in a little bit more detail by looking at the shadow energy, or the hidden energy, and the light energy. So what we've been looking at so far is more the sun is more like your life path and what is seen in the world, and the moon is more like your spiritual side and what's hidden. But there's also the kind of sun-moon thing where the sun is sort of the light energy and the moon is the shadow energy. So we're going to have a look for each of them, like the aspects of both light and shadow in that way. So we'll start firstly with the sun energy. So around the getting towards vitality, long-lasting vitality through your own intellect. Spiritually, the light energy that's coming through the Queen of the Sun's message is live in the moment. Yeah, don't rush anything. That might be a better thing than, you have to be really patient. It's like live in the now, let that vitality build. It becomes contagious, it becomes infectious, it builds for you, rather than thinking too much about what's coming next, because you can go into a fear state around that. It's just live in the moment and feel the vitality. What's the shadow energy around that advice? Moving from recovery to vitality and living in the moment. What shadow energy is around that for you? The waterfall, sorrow, acceptance, chaos. I think you do, whatever it is you're recovering from, there is a fear that it could return. And this is saying it won't. It's saying very strongly it's not going to. But I feel like living in the moment makes you present. Like one of the things actually, and I can understand this because I'm a bit like this, when you've got strong Mercury, is you do live in your head a bit. And there's a lot to be said for that when you're dealing with these things, because you can discern really well what kind of information is coming, but it can be a bit theoretic. So for you, one of the questions to ask is, if I live in my head, if I go and live in the moment, I'm living in my body, I'm living in my emotions, am I going to get overwhelmed? So let's have a look at the chakra balance between them. What's the balance for you in living in the moment, not being overwhelmed by the emotion of it and feeling that's all chaos, what do I do with this? And we have this sacral chakra. I feel clingy, overactive. So I think you feel as though, I think you've withdrawn quite a bit, because you feel when you connect to others that you're requiring more of them, or that puts you in a space where you're vulnerable to the emotions of them. So you've almost detached a bit. You feel like that connection to others is clingy. I think this say it isn't. It's just live in the moment. This is the big answer. It's like, don't worry about it, because if you're worried about chaos, you're moving into the future and you're doing what mercurial people do. Trust me, I know this. So it's don't worry about that. Just live in the moment. That keeps you in your own vitality. Okay, so that's what's happening on the sun level. What about the moon level? What's the Queen of the Moon saying to you in terms of light that's illuminated on this situation? Let them stare, you're magnetic. Okay, so yeah, like I do think that there's something here. Like, as I say, if this is around a health issue, the vitality coming through is very, people are curious about it. They wonder how it's happened. So like, let them be curious. Don't make you worry or feel vulnerable in some way. That's possible. But if this is around love or career or something like that, you're heading into a really good period of time. That vitality is coming through. Don't worry about it. Don't let it trigger a fear response. Understand that people are curious about you because you're magnetic. So what, if people are responding to you, remember you've got this really good intellect and this really good way of communicating that can help you deal with this. But what could be the shadow around that for you? Oh, there isn't really one. The sun. Desire, hope, clarity. Don't worry. Don't worry. There isn't. There isn't. The fear is only in your mind because you have the discernment to know. But the reality about this is you are heading into a much more vital energy. So but that will bring a lot of attention to you. People will want to know your secret and so forth. But there isn't a shadow thing there. That's, come into your own, come into your vitality. So let's see what the chakra balance is for that to do this best. This is around the heart energy. I love and have connection. It's not about being clingy. It's not about needing. And if people come to you, you're not going to suddenly be overwhelmed and be in chaotic relationships or not be able to cope with the demands. You're actually ready. You're drawing the right people in. Feel happy about that in whatever way it is. This is a profoundly healing message, actually. It's a very positive message for you. Okay. So let's have a look at that in terms of healing, focus and empowerment. So we're going to look both from the sun and from the moon around that. So what is the healing that is possible in this message for you from the sun? So in your life path, in what is seen, in who you think you are in the world. Stress, this is stress management. This is moving you out of stress and fear into discernment and vitality. So that's what this is offering to you. How can you best focus to get that outcome? Pile 2. Divination. Okay. So, you are very psychic. We've got the magician here. We've got the discernment and wisdom and so forth that's around the moon and so forth. So things like this, like pay attention to these sort of messages. Maybe if you are into this, do it yourself. You've actually got a natural ability to do that. The more you do that, the more you're going to be able to. I think your mind is very curious, and I think you can connect in with that. You're also with the Saturn and the Neptune there. You would be someone, if you did divination, one of the reasons actually you'd be good at that is that you are neither just all love and light off with the pixies, and it's all just theoretical, nor are you, it's all just the leaden things of the day. You're actually a good balance of the both what's in the material world and also what's in the liminal space. So that focus can help you deal with stress and help you see the patterns in life, I think, help you move from fear into discernment. So what about a message of empowerment for you then from the Queen of the Sun? Take the time you need to feel into the situation and then give it your best response. I think the Sun's saying that, there would be a tendency maybe to sort of like have that rush of vitality and just sort of move forward because you're very quick. That's the other thing with Mercury coming up twice. You're very quick. You think quickly, you do things quickly. But the Sun is saying, you know what, take a bit of time, use a bit of divination, work out your pathway, rather than just thinking you have to respond instantly to something. Now, of course, if there's something like part of the vitality is you're suddenly offered a job, you probably have to respond relatively quickly whether you want the job. But then after that and settling in if you've decided you do, or moving on to look for something else if you've decided you haven't, you can take a little bit of time on. So what about the Queen of the Moon? What's sort of more psychic? Because this is a very strong interplay with that. What is the healing that the Queen of the Moon is bringing you? Body, okay. Healing to the body. There's definitely for a lot of you, there is something physical about this. But if it's not that you're dealing with an actual sickness, it could be body image that you have, or it could be being within your body, bringing your psychic ability, your spirituality into your body, paying attention to that. You're likely to be very kinesthetic. You're likely to be someone who, with the clear senses, good stimulus, that kind of thing, the things that are in the body, good gut instinct. So there's a healing to that energy that your psychic and spiritual side is bringing in. What should you focus on for that? Animals. Okay. So if you've got a pet, they can help a lot. Otherwise, I think what's your almost animal nature? Like there's something here about getting to your body. Don't live just in your head, because that could be your animal nature and your body nature, or it could be animals are something that can actually help you feel more present in the moment and are very healing. There's certainly studies that show if you have stress that just, having a pet around and petting a dog or a cat can lower your blood pressure and do all that sort of thing. What's a message of empowerment for you? Take your power back by claiming full responsibility for your life. And that's falling on the Sun. Like knowing that you can do this. And this is the point about the Mercury twice. It's like, certainly, as I say, particularly if this is around some sort of health issue, do get, the sort of the benefit and the support of science, but also make sure you make the decision in the end and you fully inform yourself and you make informed consent for anything, all that sort of thing. So this is about you reclaiming that, giving yourself the time to do it and knowing that you can trigger that inner magician really well. All right, so a couple of things to close out. Firstly, we're going to get you a couple of goddesses. I thought a couple of goddesses to also guide along with the Queen of the Moon and the Queen of the Sun. And then we're going to get a wild card to close out. So the goddesses for you, pile 2. Firstly, we have Varumati. Now, again, I am going to say right now, I'm not good at pronunciation, so apologies if I'm mispronouncing that. I probably am. And Ain. So I'm not really sure who these goddesses are, so I am just going to pause and look at the book. So these actually show a kind of an overarching message here that's sort of been hinted at, which I haven't really talked a lot about because I've been focusing more on, like being able to sort of move into your vitality, go at the pace that you want, deal with health issues if there's health issues. But I think it's interesting that we've got a body here. I sort of said, like if you have body image issues, and it's interesting that fell on you're magnetic. People are looking at you because you're beautiful and magnetic. Varumati is saying the same thing to you. She is a Polynesian goddess, and she's a goddess of beauty and seduction. She calls you to celebrate your sensuality and self-expression. Enjoy the power of your allure and your creative essence. Let her guidance inspire you to express your inner radiance and embrace your unique magnetism. So, I don't know, maybe some of you are very charismatic. And the reason I say that, partly some people define charisma as very quick thought, very quick in communication. But like what I've observed of people who are truly charismatic in the workplace and other things, they often have really complicated lives because people respond to them in a very strange way. They get very addicted to them. They get very fascinated by them. And it can make for a difficult set of patterns. And there's often a lot of jealousy. People compete for your attention. You might have been dealing with that. There might have been something that happened with that you kind of need to own more who you are, take responsibility for that, but understand that you are very alluring. So for some of you, that's the case, or you're becoming more alluring now that you are recovering, and not to be afraid of that, not to be afraid of what that would bring. Enjoy that side of you, embody what you want. And then this is shining your light. Ain is a Celtic sun goddess, and we've got the sun over here. Like, there's only the sun. It's like the moon, you've got the discernment, you've got the spiritual ability, you've got the intellect in that space to be able to deal with this, to divine what you need. But really, there's only good energy coming through. So don't be afraid. Very, very positive. So she's talking about shining your light in the world. So don't be afraid of doing that. Okay. So to finish off, let's just get you a wild card for anything else that the Queen of the Sun and the Queen of the Moon want to say to you. Wow. Quantum field. Endless possibilities, source, opening. Yeah, there's a lot of energy coming through. There's a lot of vitality coming through. Take your time to work out what you want to do with it. A lot of downloads, if you, particularly in divination, you work sort of spiritually. But it's light, it's energy, it's radiance. And if there has been a health thing, it's getting better. Getting better to the point that you kind of just shine with that. So this is the manifester too. You are a manifester. And I don't say that lightly. Every once in a while I talk about this in readings, but I actually think there's a lot in the kind of classic law of attraction that is sort of like snake oil, to be honest. But I think that there are people who, for various reasons, probably because they've got a lot of alignment between what their life path is and the energy and how they're using it, actually are manifestors. And I think you are. But I think it might surprise you a bit because there's been a lot drawn out of you. I think you're very magnetic and people have drawn a lot of energy out of you. And maybe with the I feel clingy, it's because you sort of felt like you wanted people around you and you wanted to feel that and you didn't quite understand the dynamic. But boy, this energy is coming in. So very positive message for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the reading or like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with joy. And I think if you were drawn to that, then you're drawn to sort of a very joyful energy. And I think that's what the sun wants to talk about, something really good that's coming in. Something surprising and a new beginning by the looks of this, because under here are the cards that I intuitively drew that was under this particular card. I didn't know what they were. But it's very interesting. For a start, we've got the moon twice here. So I think it's tilting a lot to understanding. As a lot of the understanding of this is more in the terrain of the moon. So this is something very spiritual, something very psychic, and something that is yet to fully emerge. But it's surprising and it's growthful and likely to be very beneficial, though I would always think like with Uranus as well as Jupiter is benefic but can sometimes expand too much. Uranus is wonderful and inspirational, can go too fast. So I think this is pointing to the Queen of the Moon is going to give you the way to deal with and understand the changes and new things that are coming in, while at the same time the Sun is saying you're going to enjoy it. Like there's something really joyful about this, but it's sort of like sometimes when we're really, really enjoying something, we can overdo it. So it's like getting those sort of things into balance to really have not just this is a wonderful, nice thing that's happening that you're joyful about, but something that truly is a change that you can make last and is a new beginning in some way. So there's definitely something like that coming in for you. What really interests me here when I look at the Queen of the Sun is this particular deck has goddesses sometimes, and this has two Egyptian goddesses, Hathor and Sekhmet. So some of you may very much connect to Egyptian mythology and Egyptian deities, or may have had a life in ancient Egypt or something like that. But I feel like there's a very strong goddess energy over this, and later in the reading we will be using the Goddesses of the World deck, so it'll be interesting to see what we get there. Very strong divine feminine. It was going to be built into the structure of this reading anyway, because we're talking to a Queen of Sun and Queen of Moon, but the Sun is very connected here to ancient power, so that's very interesting. And it's like the past in a way, and then the future here. Like, so I actually feel for some of you, I'm just going to say this, that some of you probably did have quite significant lives in ancient Egypt, maybe very powerful lives or very beneficial lives. So I think there's something from that coming through and going to start to manifest now in a new change. But it's different. It's in a different world. It's in a more Uranian world. So this feels more like you could have been in royalty, like in the Pharaoh's house or something like this. This feels more like you're an inspiration, you're an entrepreneur, something like that. It's going to depend. It's not going to be everybody who comes to the reading, but I'm just getting that for some of you. But whatever happens with this, Hathor is here to bring joy. Sekhmet is bringing you protection. Sekhmet is fierce. So there is a kind of a ferocity to this. There is joy, and it is going to be protected. So even if there is a risk for you to go too fast or expand too quickly, I think the moon is helping you modulate that. But over all of this, there's almost like there's a psychic or spiritual energy from the upper realms that wants to make sure that you really get what you want out of this. So this is a change. So new relationship, new job, new business, something like that. Very, very powerful, very, very beneficial, and very, very protected. So that's great to see. So let's have a look at tarot. So what we're going to do with tarot is we're going to firstly get some more messages from the Queen of the Sun about this joyful energy that's coming through that's going to be protected, fiercely protected for you. Then we're going to have a look at what the Queen of the Moon wants to say about you understanding the change opportunities here and that this is really a true new beginning, and then how to balance the two together. So firstly, what else does the Queen of the Sun want to say to you? Excuse me. I'm dealing either with a cold or with hay fever. I'm not sure which, but it's making me cough quite a lot, so I apologise. We have the moon reversed. Okay, now that's interesting before I do anything else, because there is a big thing about here, the moon being important to this message for you to really understand fully what this is. I think when we've got the moon and Jupiter here, the moon could be overtaken by the joy. So it's sort of like there's a discernment thing operating here to know that this is the beginning of something. It's not the ultimate outcome already. It's the beginning of something. So I think that the Queen of the Sun here says, look, I know you are protected and I will look after you, and you are joyful, but also understand that this is very important to look at, because you might get so carried away with whatever this is that you don't look at the longer term picture. Judgment. Yeah, there's something very karmic about this. It's meant to happen now. Knight of Cups reversed, Eight of Swords, Four of Wands, Queen of Cups reversed. Okay, so what the Queen of the Sun is saying here is that this is something karmic. It's something that's meant to happen. As I say, I think there's past life stuff here. And for some of you, literally from Egypt. But otherwise, there is a past life kind of thing operating here. And you do need to excavate that and bring it up. There is more to this than it appears. Whatever this is, whatever this joyful energy is, like if you just woke up and you feel really energized and joyful and you don't know why, it's in the moon energy that you're going to work this out. If something really fantastic just happened, it will be protected and so forth, but there's more to it than you think. So to really understand this, like karmically for yourself, in terms of your life path, you need to look into that moon energy. And it's saying it's not to romanticize it. at all. In fact, if you romanticized it, then you're going to trap yourself in something. You're going to limit it more than it should be. So it's not about, even if this is about love, it's not about over-romanticizing that, because that's a trap. It's about, I think, finding your people, finding your family, finding a sense of community, and working out where in the past you've had to be less than authentic to who you were. Because this is a change that's allowing for that, to clear that energy out. But it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody you're going to meet is going to be perfect. So don't think, oh, well, now I'm so protected, I'm so joyful that everything's going to be fine. This is a new beginning, yes, but you need to be really pragmatic about what's going on, and you need to understand it in the context of the past as well. It's really funny that this is coming up because when I'm filming this in America, in the political world, and I don't get into sides on the political world in tarot at all, but there's like a whole side of it that's about joy. But what seems to be a bit absent in it is understanding, well, what does that actually really look like? It's a bit like this. It doesn't mean that that's not true. As I say, I'm not getting into sides politically, but there's a similar energy here of, you could get the uprush of joy and you are being protected and you can enjoy this, but to manage that energy well, you need to understand its context. And so it is a new beginning, it's change, and so you also need to understand the past. So given the moon is so important here, and even the Queen of the Sun is saying you're not paying as much attention to this. When this occurs, when you're feeling in this joyful space, there's a risk that you don't pay as much attention to the moon. So what does the moon, the Queen of the Moon, want to say to you? 8 of Cups, 5 of Pentacles reversed, 4 of Swords reversed, 9 of Cups, Ace of Swords, Magician. Like, they're definitely saying, this has been true of all the readings. It's really, really great, actually. There's some really positive stuff coming through, which is nice. So the moon is saying there is a wish associated with this. A new beginning is linked to a wish, and you've manifested it in a way. You kind of magically brought it in. Don't underestimate your own spiritual ability. That's occurred. And the more you live into this, the less you have to deal with being inauthentic, the more you'll find your people, the more you'll be liberated to pursue your dreams. So this is protected. This joy is protected. But it is saying you do need to let go of old paths. This is something new. It's going to require different action. It's going to require more connection to others in some way too. So whether this is about stepping into a love relationship, whether it's stepping into a job with a new community, whether it's stepping into some sort of social cause, but there is something here about the change. You'll probably understand the change more and how profound this difference is, and that it's not just a rush of energy and happiness. When you connect more with others, that's when you're really going to manifest this. It's a beginning with others, a beginning in a new community, a beginning in a new job, whatever it might be. So let's have a look and see how to balance the two together. 10 of Wands reversed, 9 of Wands reversed, 6 of Pentacles reversed, 8 of Wands, the Chariot. Look at that. It's sort of like, this is a bit about the past. This is the kind of future and the joy coming in. This is the energy, and the energy and the movement and the destiny and like, let's go with this sort of energy. But what it's telling you, it's like past and future, and then the present energy. I think this is what this is trying to say. This is how to get into balance. This is how to understand what the new beginning is and what its true potential is, as opposed to just enjoying the moment and not thinking about what to do with it. In the past, things were exhausting. It's time to leave that behind. The 9 of Wands reverse, also people were difficult to deal with, I think. Energy was very patchy. People sort of like were on short fuses, all that kind of thing. And you might have withdrawn from people as a result, withdrawn from that kind of thing, but you are meant to go back out into this. But it's saying that's in the past, but it's probably why you're not fully understanding the importance of this moment, because you almost have an expectation after a period of time, that will come back. But this is saying that there's something about this, whether it's a relationship, work, social causes, whatever it is, you are much more amongst equals now. That's part of what's going to protect it, and it's part of why it's a new beginning. And once you realize that and see that and make those connections, you can really move forward towards your destiny. This is why it's protected, because there's something destined about it, but you're underestimating the impact of something that might seem quite small, but it's actually really, really big. That's the thing to think about. Okay, so let's have a look. We've looked at Sun and Moon, Sun being kind of the sort of illuminated sort of like life path energy, and moon being more the sort of spiritual. Let's have a look at it in the other way of light and shadow. So for both the sun energy here that we're talking about, which is the joy that is protected, and the moon energy, which is the understanding of what this is all really about, we're going to have a look at what is both a light energy and what is also a shadow energy about it. So the light energy about kind of like just being in the moment and being joyful and knowing that you're protected and knowing that the universe loves you and all that kind of thing. What's the light energy around that? Be alert and unpredictable. So like, don't just get carried away in the moment. Understand what this is and where the opportunities are. So it's important to realize that. And not to kind of give away everything about what you see. Allow yourself time for that to build. But be alert and unpredictable. Don't feel like you have to, show your joy in a constrained way. What's the shadow energy that's around that for you? The mirror. Reflection, echo, replica. Okay. Couple of things here. One is it could be that there is an opportunity here, as I say, in a relationship and career, whatever this is that has brought the joy, where why you have to be alert and unpredictable is that there are elements of this that are similar to something in the past, and you need to kind of work out what do you want to mirror and bring forward and what don't you want to mirror and bring forward. Or it might be that part of your energy, because it's so infectious, other people are mirroring, and you're wondering that might make you withdraw. It's actually interesting. One of the other readings in this, I kind of saw the energy that I see with charismatic people. There's a bit of that here as well too. And like, I think people will think, oh, I'd love to be charismatic, but I actually think it's really complicated. It complicates your life. People respond weirdly to you. So you might have a little bit about this. The amount of joy that you have with this, the amount of energy is very charismatic. Being unpredictable is good if you don't want a lot of mini-me's, because there's a possibility of that. So let's see the chakra balance that will help you with that. So it's a third eye chakra, so very much how you deal with other people. I see, but I'm disconnected from the universe. Okay, yeah, you're not going as much into your spirituality as you could. You're kind of more looking at how the situation, what's happening in the material world, what is this joy and how are people responding to it. The best way that you can stop, almost as I say, a kind of a mirroring and echoing, a stealing of your energy almost, is to connect to your own spiritual energy. That's what you need to bring into balance. Okay, let's see what the moon has to say then. What is the light side of the moon's message? Call on your guides for help. So you do have guides. You're really protected, really spiritually protected. So I'll be really interested to see what goddesses come up, but you're very spiritually protected. So know that. This is something also, it's a bit judgment-y, like if you look at that card. There's something this is meant to happen. But of course, when that happens and you're protected, it often means there's a shadow energy you really have to deal with. So what's the shadow energy that the moon is bringing you to consider? The Inferno, passion, self-destruction energy, all this energy. What do you do with all this energy? So like, I think, yeah, you shine really brightly. There's like, this is joyful, it's wonderful, it's protected, but it's like to really know what to do with this and to not be consumed by it, but to be able to moderate it and bring it where it needs to be. You do need to go into your spiritual guidance. Your spiritual guidance is very strong, but you need to call on it. Let's see what the chakra energy is around that. I have the solar plexus. I do have a victim mindset right now underactive. So something's happened where you didn't feel joyful, and so this is coming into joy. So this could be a kind of a pessimism, or what's the catch, or this is for the moment, but it's just for the moment. But this is actually something much more. Calling on your guides makes you not sort of feel consumed by this and have the fire burn out, because it's meant to move forward. You're meant to have a new beginning out of it. Okay, so let's have a look then at how you can heal, focus, and empower yourself. So let's firstly see what the sun has to say about that. What does the Queen of the Sun want to say you have an opportunity to heal right now? Anxiety. So if you've been worried or whatever, and it goes with the joy. If you suddenly have a rush of joy when you've been anxious, you can get anxious just about that. Understanding it in the bigger picture is going to help you. So what should you focus on? Exercise. Okay. So this might be just get out, use some of that energy, exercise. It could be to get more vitality and joy in your body, embody it in some way. Or there could be rituals or processes. If you think of exercise as a process or a ritual that you do, it's another way that you can actually access the energy. So focusing on that. what can you do in your body, or what are the kind of rituals or processes you can do to start to truly manifest a new beginning rather than just letting that dissipate. And an empowerment message for you from the sun is it's okay to say no. That's interesting. That came up for one of the others. So do what is right for you. Don't feel you have to do everything for everybody. And as I say, if you're dealing with this charisma thing, that can happen. People want so much from the charismatic. It's, as I say, it's not something to envy, I don't think. So let's see what the moon has to say around what can be healed. Remembering the moon is connecting to your spiritual nature, to your guides, to how to use this energy, to knowing that you're protected. So we have fear of death. Okay. So, I mean, I don't think that's necessary. I mean, maybe you worried about, life and death on some level. Maybe something like that did occur. Maybe there was a health issue or something like that. But I think it's interesting. This is all about change and new beginnings. It's like we think about the death card in tarot. It is about change and choice. So this is getting you into being comfortable with the change and the new beginnings and moving past that. That's what this is. It's just a new beginning. It's not death. It's not the end. It's just the beginning. So what can you focus on to help with that? Leadership, with Segment and Hathor, coming into who you are. What do you do? How do you move forward? How do you lead something new? This is around your workplace. How do you really step up and be seen? So an empowerment message for you. Do not dim your light for anybody. Shine on, you crazy diamond. Yeah, don't worry about that. You're not going to burn yourself out. This is just the beginning, and you're meant to lead something new in some way. And leadership comes in many forms. It doesn't have to be being a boss. It could be being a thought leader or a creative leader. It just depends on what this actually is for you. Okay, so as I say, to finish off, we're firstly going to get a couple of goddesses from the Goddesses of the World deck, just to see what other sort of power there is around you. And with those two Egyptian goddesses and with the protection energy around your guides, I just think there's very strong energy around you. And then we're going to get a wild card just to close it out. So the goddess energy that is coming through for you. Firstly, Yi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but look at that radiance. It's a bit like this energy. There might be a very similar kind of energy between Yi and Hathor potentially. And Isis, it's another Egyptian god. I do think quite a few of you have some kind of very significant past life in Egypt, if you believe in past lives, or a very strong alignment with the Egyptian goddess hierarchy in particular. But, like gods and goddesses, there's something about that for you, because she is, a queen of the goddesses in ancient Egypt. So I don't know who Yi is, so just looking at the book. Okay, this is an Australian First Nations sun deity, so sun energy. Yeah, it's a bit like the Hathor joy here. Power of light, warmth, and new beginnings. Her vitality imparts, energy-giving, life-giving rays. So if you were worried about endings, it's something new coming through. The vitality of it imparts just as Ye awakens the world each day. Let her guidance inspire you to rise with renewed energy and enthusiasm for life. So this is something that's meant to be a renewal and bring in the new day. And then Isis, we'll just see, as I say, she's a very powerful goddess from Egypt. This is talking about trusting your higher self, Get into the spiritual side of it. Egyptian mother goddess, awaken your magic with the magician there. Use your intuition, ability to heal and nurture others. Trust in your inner wisdom. You've got the power to transform and rise from life's challenges. So there's a lot of energy around this to take you forward into what you want to do. So let's just finish off with a wild card for any other sort of part of this message that the Queen of the Sun and the Queen of the Moon wants to bring you. Gift, revelation, find the truth, unpredicted offering. So something's coming through, something wonderful's coming through, and it holds all the promise of a gift. It holds all the new beginnings, all of that kind of thing. You didn't necessarily expect it. It's kind of the key to everything. But look at this. It's in the nighttime. It's in the sleep. It's in astral travel that gift is accessed. So there's a very strong thing here that, you're meant to enjoy this and be vital in the world and understand, that might draw some people to want to be mini-me's or whatever, but just keep going with what you're doing, keep moving forward. This is something that you're meant to do. Don't feel that you have to kind of edit that or anything like that, but do go within your spiritual self, because there's a lot of power around you. Really powerful guides, really powerful sort of spiritual and psychic energy. So I hope that that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.